LEGO Marvel Superheroes is seen as the best LEGO Marvel game, and that's because it is, and one of the reasons why is the X-Men, and today we are going to be ranking all of the 26 X-Men characters from worst to best. Along the way, you are going to learn tons of hidden details about certain characters you never knew, and we are going to touch upon the fan favorites and some hidden gems that you totally need to know about. Let's go. This is the Juggernaut, one of the top tier X-Men characters priced at 250,000 studs, but watch out because there's another X-Men character at the same cost and buying them feels like a slap in the face to every hard-earned stud you've ever collected. Enter Mastermind, or should I say Mastermind numbingly ineffective. Crikey, what a waste of studs. This guy's all about mind control and that is it. Why bother playing as him when Jean Grey is unlocked for free in the story? She's got all the telepathic mojo without the hefty price tag. As if Bro is a main boss in this game, and this is how terrible he is when you unlock him. I thought Galactus were bad. Sorry, Galactus. Using all of my brain power, the only positive thing about Mastermind I can think of is his unique idle animation. But let's be real, that's like trying to put lipstick on Blob. It barely makes a difference. Beating Master Mid by a small leap on the ranking at number 25 is a character nobody can take seriously, and I appreciate LEGO for making him even more derpy and dumb. Here is Toad, and surprisingly Toad is the fastest attacking character in the game, but that causes a gigantic issue, as in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, when you attack enemies, sometimes you will initiate a special move, but because Toad attacks faster than other characters, he ends up defeating them before the special move begins, meaning you're left swinging a ball of air around with your tongue. How long is Toad's tongue? I feel sorry for his poor wife. That's if he, has one. Mind you, if I saw Toad dancing like this, I would fall for him. And did you know this was actually taken from the first X-Men movie? Toad may be a funny character, but pulling handles and being acrobatic and being voiced by Michelangelo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will not place him any higher, as we have some strong contenders coming up, and I am not just talking about in the weight category. When you think about LEGO characters, the first thing that comes to your mind isn't exactly sexy, am I right? But then along comes Emma Frost in her crystal form, strutting her stuff like she's the hottest thing since stud multipliers. Her transformation into diamond mode is so darn cool, but it feels like I am watching someone squeeze out a sloppy fart. But here's the kicker. In her crystal form, she's all like, no, not today, lasers, and she's deflecting them left, right, and center. But she is still vulnerable to good old-fashioned punches. That doesn't make sense to me. Emma Frost might get people turning their heads on the streets of Manhattan with all that light bouncing off her shiny exterior, but when it comes down to it, she is just a glammed up mastermind who's cool for like a hot minute. Beating Crystal Stench at number 23 is Archangel. Archangel. I gotta say, this character is just a bit of a hot mess. I mean, seriously, he's like a sad knockoff of Gambit and Vulture mashed together. You've got the whole flying thing going on with Vulture's animations, and then they try and throw in some of Gambit's animations with the whole card throwing nonsense, but it's feathers instead, and some even fire out of his butt. Has he got a whole flock of pigeons stuck up there? You know what would make Archangel one of the greatest LEGO game characters? If he could fly around New York City and just drop a load of birds on everyone. Look, Timmy, there's that superhero you like. Because Archangel is one of the few flying X-Men characters, I gotta give him some merits, and that definitely places him above Crystal Stench, Toad, and Master Mid. And I forgot that Archangel appears in X-Men 3 and X-Men Apocalypse, which are two of the worst X-Men films. It must be Archangel dragging them down. From this point onwards, the step up in quality of the X-Men characters becomes significantly better. Coming in at number 22, this character should be near the very top of the ranking. In the Marvel Comics, Sentinels were feared by every mutant, being virtually unbeatable due to their ability to adapt to any mutant power, thanks to Mystique's DNA. However, in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, it's a different story. Even Aunt May can take one down. For number 22, it's the Mini Sentinel, who could have been epic adapting powers from enemies or maybe bosses, but instead he just feels like a lackluster Iron Man suit. Such a missed opportunity. Now, coming up next is a character you probably would expect to be a hell of a lot higher on the list because he is a pretty iconic one. Here is Pyro. Now, don't get me wrong, I dig fire-based characters, but comparing Pyro to the Human Torch is like placing a sparkler against a flamethrower. Sure, he's got the same moves as Johnny Storm and animations, which makes him a viable option, but it's like, why bother when you've got the real deal in the Human Torch or the cosmic might of the Phoenix? And neither of those two need a plane ticket to get around, and what is so stupid about Pyro is how he cannot even create his own flames. He can only control them. How lame is that?
I can only manipulate the fire. I can't create it.
If Pyro wasn't constantly overshadowed by better fire-based characters, he might have been a little higher. And how tight is Pyro's outfit? Bro is not having any kids. Now, as you know, in 2013, LEGO Marvel Superheroes released. While not directly connected to the Marvel films of the time, it did nod to them. For instance, Aldrich Killian from Iron Man 3 made an appearance as a boss, as lame as that boss fight may be, and Silver Samurai, who debuted in the Wolverine film that year, was a playable character in the game, and he is next up at number 20. The silver characters in this game always look so appealing to me. They felt like shiny Pokemon cards. How can you not love them? Other than his shiny aesthetic, Silver Samurai has one of the most overpowered weapons ever. Yeah, it may just look like a simple katana, but oh man, it is not. When thrown, it literally flies around the entire map, taking down enemies like Yondu's arrow on a whole nother level. TT Games made the right decision sticking with the comic book version of Silver Samurai. It beats the robotic shredder looking thing from the film any day. This here is Cyclops in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, and he is one of the most popular X-Men characters, and get ready to be surprised. Did you know that he has a younger mutant brother who is also a character in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, and he is just tucked away in the roster? Meet Havoc, my number 19 spot on the ranking. Unlike Thor and Storm, who are constantly running low on juice, Havoc's got constant electrical power, making him your go-to guy for zapping up charges quickly. And get this, were you aware that Havoc had a thing going with Magneto's daughter, Polaris, who appears in the game? How does a guy with facial expressions as stiff as adamantium manage that? Maybe he's just a master at utilising his powers in more ways than one, if you catch my drift. It does seriously let Havoc down. He has a great beam ability, but with no unique animations or special moves, he is kinda just a walking battery. I gotta give him one thing though, he is really good at racking up the stud multipliers on enemies. One thing that has always bugged me in the LEGO superhero games is the blocking mechanic. It's usually slow and absolutely pointless, and if you use it, I am sorry, you are a LEGO game noob. But coming in at number 18 is Psylocke, whose blocking ability is a game changer because you can actually attack while blocking, making her practically invincible. So if you are doing battles in co-op, always pick Psylocke, unless the other player picks Iceman, and then you are doomed. We will get onto this guy very soon. But being honest, I don't think LEGO Marvel Superheroes did a great job at portraying Psylocke. She is a telepathic X-Men character similar to Jean Grey and Professor X, but what makes her different is the ability to form psychic weapons, and they kinda just slapped a purple blade on her and give her telekinetic powers. She is a good character, but could have been a lot better. Coming in at number 17 on the ranking, it's Cyclops. Yes, I thought this character would have been a little bit higher because he was the epitome of a beam character, but over the years in LEGO games, we have had so many beam characters. Cyclops just doesn't feel as special as he was back in 2013. Cyclops does melt enemies effortlessly. Poor guy's goggles must get fogged up all the time. No wonder he is constantly wiping them. Same goes for his tears when Logan steals his girl. Hey Jean, these clothes just ain't for show. Cyclops does come with another variation, and he is one of the few characters out of the X-Men to have another variation, but I'm not a fan of this look. It kind of just looks like a rip-off Giant Man. Even then, who is Giant Man? We have now covered all of the B-list X-Men characters, and now we are moving into the A-listers. Next up, it's number Remember earlier when I said I was a sucker for shiny silver characters in this game? Well, mix that with a big fig character and you have none other than Colossus himself. You gotta feel sorry for this guy's poor wife. But hey, what really makes Colossus stand out ain't just his shiny coat. Nah, they went all in, crafting some sick, unique fighting moves just for him, even throwing in a Palpatine spin.
I am the Senate.
Now, yes, surely we've all heard about the special move you can pull off with Wolverine by now, right? It's a slick little hidden detail you can only do with Colossus. It does kinda tick me off though how they straight up copied and pasted Colossus' movesets onto Groot and Curse when Groot does not suit it at all. It just takes away from Colossus being even more epic. It would have been pretty cool if Colossus could deflect beams. That would make him stand out a bit more among the other big characters in this game. And unfortunately for Colossus, we do have some other big X-Men characters coming up, and I mean big, big, chunky, size, big, who are a lot better than Colossus. I need to stop bullying the Blob. I love the guy. Anyway, next up, it's For number 15 on our ranking, let me tell you, this one's gonna cost you a pretty penny. 250,000 studs to be exact. Now, I ain't saying he's worth dropping that much when you got Magneto sitting at a pretty 150,000. It's none other than Sabretooth. Bro literally does not move a muscle. Look at him. You can move Sabretooth. And what I find funny about Sabretooth is how in LEGO games, most of the time when you unlock a boss character, they are nothing like what they were in the boss fight. But for Sabretooth's case, he is a lot better as a character than he is in his boss fight. All bro did in that fight was just run away like a coward. Come down here and fight me. And then he gets sucked up by a vacuum. I could run around as Sabretooth for ages and ages. There's just something about this running animation that just keeps me super satisfied. And did you know Sabretooth is one of the only few characters in this game to be able to regenerate hearts, which is handy, but compared to Wolverine and Deadpool being invincible, it isn't that great. Honestly, Sabretooth is just a downgraded version of Beast and Wolverine, which is not a bad thing. I still love cannonballing into enemies as Sabretooth. Cannonball! His design is honestly one of the best in LEGO Marvel superheroes, and I don't know if that's just me being a sucker for this hairpiece. I loved it on Joker in LEGO Batman 1 and Wolverine. It's just such a good hairpiece. So I guess it only makes sense that next up at number 14 is Beast. No, not Mr. Beast. Beast. Here is Beast, and he is the improved Sabretooth. He can do technology, and guess what? You get him for absolutely nothing, and in my opinion, he has some of the best idle animations in LEGO Marvel superheroes. I love how he shrugs off nearly turning into the Hulk, and then there is this one. What an interesting book. It's all about how LEGO Marvel superheroes is way better than the complete saga. Now, if you have a keen eye, you would have noticed there is one little difference between the animations of Beast and Sabretooth, and that is their jumping attack animations. That is literally it. But Beast is a lot better, like I said. He can do technology, and his idle animations are just some of the best. Coming in at number 13 on the ranking, we've got one of the slickest characters to ever grace a LEGO game. Here is Mystique, and she has the ability to morph into people, which you probably knew about, but hold on to your seats because Mystique here doesn't just stop at morphing into your average SHIELD agent on the helicarrier or your run-of-the-mill police officer in Manhattan. In the game, depending on which level you are playing through, Mystique will morph into a character who appears in that level. For example, take the cameraman from the Fantastic Four level, who you can see flying around in the helicopter. There is so many, I cannot even show you them all, and this ability is enough alone to place Mystique at the number 14th spot. Outside of her morphing ability, she is pretty much just Black Widow. I really do not want to be that guy, but LEGO Marvel superheroes kinda messed up because when Mystique morphs into people, she is not meant to take their abilities, whereas in LEGO Marvel superheroes, she does, which kinda makes her better, but it's not accurate to the comics or the films. Finally, next up at number 12 is the character I have not shut up about in this entire video. It's none other than the Blob. Who does not love the Blob in LEGO Marvel Superheroes? He is the fattest LEGO character ever, and they say fat is power, and I ain't gonna disagree. Blob's got enough power to shake the very foundations of New York City with just the clap of his hands. Blob is the type of guy to fetch a spoon to the Super Bowl, and look at his girlfriend Blobella. Oh, they're so romantic together. Comparing Blob to the other big characters, you may be wondering why is he so high up on the ranking? Well, Blob has his own unique special moves, and they are just hilarious. Oh, Blade is never gonna feel clean again. He probably needs therapy. Hello, Blade. Let's begin with how you are feeling today. Every time I sniff, I smell something so powerful, Thanos couldn't wipe it away. Please help me. Because of how funny Blob is to play, he definitely deserves to be this high up. You know what I never understood about Blob, though? In the movie, Wolverine calls him Fat Fred, and he doesn't get angry, but when he mistakes Bub for Blob, he goes berserk. We are now halfway through the ranking, and so far, all of the characters have been, for the most part, very unique and pretty darn good overall, but the last 12 characters left me stuck like a Stan Lee in peril. At number 11 on the ranking is a character who is just completely ignored in the storyline of LEGO Marvel Superheroes, and it kinda grinds my gears because he is pretty much just a mere cameo in the 8th level of the game. We're talking about none other than Professor X. Speeding around Manhattan in a decked-out mobility scooter is as good as life gets, and you get to play bumper cars too. Damn, I didn't know Professor X looks max. Soon he'll be teaching his students about mewing. You gotta keep that forehead shiner. There is a major problem with Professor X that I came across, and that is how he cannot start quests in LEGO Marvel Superheroes. Bro is just jamming to some heavy metal. TT Games actually hit the nail on the head with Professor X. His animations are perfect, and his special move is actually really useful in clearing out a large amount of enemies. Being able to mind control, use telekinesis and technology, but not pull levers is a little strange. Charles, your arms work, you know. Oh yes. Professor X is what I look for in a LEGO character. He isn't exactly overpowered, having every single ability, so you don't have to be any other character, because I don't really enjoy characters like that, unless they're like Stan Lee, where you unlock them at the end of the game, because it does kind of ruin the entire point of having a character roster if you're just being one overpowered character for the entire game. And this is why Professor X excels. He is great at what he does, mind control and telekinesis, and he has his own unique set of animations, making him feel like a standout character. Unlike Mastermind, who is literally just there to mind control, and he just feels super bland to play, with no unique fighting animations or special moves. Come on. Now, number 10 is quite a surprising one. For number 10, here is Wolverine, and out of the two variations of Wolverine in this game, I have gotta say his cowl version is so much better, and TT Games should have ran with this look for the game's story. I get it, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was super popular at the time, so it does make sense that they went with the other version. I am aware a lot of people were very angry at how they did Wolverine's claws in this game. This is the perfect way to do it. It just adds that LEGO game charm, seeing Wolverine hold 2 LEGO claw pieces. Let's say in an alternate timeline that they did create a LEGO hand mold with built-in claws with a new animation, it would just not feel right, because the whole goal TT Games strive for is to create LEGO games that are true to LEGO, and they did it correctly here. This is true to LEGO, and it is perfect. Logan is a really good character in this game. He is invincible, and God knows what his anti-balding techniques are, because how he manages to keep his facial hair when a skeleton is beyond me. He is like an upgraded version of the Terminator, and he can magically regrow his clothes, and then he can magically repair cars. Bro is just out here sharing his healing factor with everything. The only thing he cannot heal is his heart. But you know what has been on my mind for quite some time? Why does Wolverine say that he is going to help them defeat Galactus in the final level of the game, but when it comes to the final level, Wolverine is nowhere to be seen? Where has bro ran off to? Damn, I didn't realize the guy was that big. Back to Canada. Have you ever stopped to think about why the weather is always clear in LEGO Marvel Superheroes and sunny, apart from that one level where you go to the prison? Well, it's all because of the character coming in at number 9. Here is Storm, and she is responsible for why I have 16 billion studs in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, because her glide doubles as a stud magnet, and when you combine it with a stud farm like the one on top of Stark Tower, you are set for studs, making Storm so good in the early game. Alongside this, her projectiles are the best in the game, and it is so satisfying when you time her attacks perfectly, because sometimes you will see Storm literally rip enemies apart from limb to limb. This is some serious fatality stuff right here. Fatality. Storm wins. What I don't like about Storm in this game, which seriously pulls her down, is her appearance. They decided to go with her look from the early X-Men films from the 2000s, whereas I think it would have been better for them to pick her white outfit from the comics with the yellow lightning. This would have made her stand out a hell of a lot more. Storm overall is really great, but the question is now, who has beaten Storm on the ranking? For number 8, in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, when it comes to big characters, ain't nobody dethroning the Juggernaut, except maybe Rhino. But let's be real here, he's just a copy and paste job with a cute little horn slapped on top, and let me tell you, never, and I mean never, let that dude charge up behind you. You'll be walking sideways for weeks, at least Deadpool is used to it. Charging into enemies, watching them explode while Naruto running is just beautiful, but hey, have you ever wondered why Juggernaut and Magneto rock those big red helmets? Well, the answer is to keep Professor X from messing with their heads, as Professor X is Juggernaut's stepbro. So how come in certain boss fights in the game, the bosses can still mind control you when playing as Juggernaut and Magneto? This makes no sense, and it gets even better because in the Juggernaut boss fight, you literally have to take his helmet off to be able to mind control him. Seriously, TT Games? I'm the Juggernaut! Yeah, everyone loves that quote. Whether it's headbutting the floor, blowing up cars or enemies, or effortlessly running into cars, smacking them out the way, Juggernaut is undeniably one of the funnest LEGO characters we have ever had, and that is what places him so high up. Ooh, we are now moving into the big league X-Men characters, and next up is a mutant who is classified as one of the most powerful mutants in the Marvel comics. Coming in at number 8, behold Jean Grey, a character who is so powerful that she can make you look like you're letting loose an Omega level fart with just a scowl. Jean Grey is the ultimate mashup of Storm, Professor X minus the chair, and Psylocke, and I cannot get over her gliding animation. It looks like when you're in Minecraft and you're flying over to your mate's house in creative. Doom, doo-doom. And you will not believe this, but Jean Grey can become even better, because when you mix Jean Grey's raw power with a cosmic force straight out of space, you get something truly out of this world. Next up at number 6 is Phoenix. For a mere 250,000 studs, Phoenix is a steal, especially when you first start out the game, because I found myself using her quite a lot of the time, because a lot of the quests in LEGO Marvel Superheroes are mind control quests. How many are there? Phoenix is by far the most powerful character on this ranking, and that probably gets you thinking, why is Phoenix not at the number 1 spot then? Because as much as she is great, the final 5 characters on this ranking are unbelievably awesome. As coming up in the final 5, we have Magneto, the master of magnetism, Deadpool, the merc with a mouth, Gambit with his slick moves and even slicker cards, and Iceman, who should be banned in co-op, and then we have Polaris. So, coming in at number 5, we have Iceman, who is cold as hell in this game. To say he is just a walking PNG ice background, plus, my man doesn't need to get turned on to go full on ice mode, unlike Johnny Storm. Like I mentioned earlier, Iceman overpowers every character in this game, not in terms of abilities, but when battling in co-op. No lie, remember those videos back in the day, Iceman vs Human Torch? Come on, it's not even a fair fight. By the time Johnny Storm turns himself on, he is straight up frozen a few seconds after. So is the Human Torch a straight up fraud in this game? They say that he burns at around 780 degrees Fahrenheit. What a load of poop. If that were true, the ice would have evaporated before even getting close to him. But RuggedEagle, it's just a LEGO game. No, this is LEGO Marvel Superheroes, the greatest LEGO game. It's got to be bob on. Now, I think we all did this as a kid. We all went to the top of the map and decided to glide across it as Iceman. There was just something so satisfying satisfying about it. Everyone did this. Let me know in the comments if you did. Beating Iceman on the ranking is Polaris. Now you're probably thinking, why is she better than Iceman? Well, she is the exact same as Magneto, who is my number 3 spot on the ranking. Magneto is a magnetic force to be reckoned with. He, alongside his daughter Polaris and the legendary Stan Lee himself, are the only characters who can bend and shape metal to their will, making him an extremely valuable character. And were you aware that his gliding animation also works as a stud magnet, and it would be epic if it attracted anything that was metal towards him? Imagine that, just a load of cars getting pulled towards you. That would make him so cool. I really wish TT Games did that. And can I just point out, you can literally be halfway across the room as Magneto and still be able to attack enemies. His range is ridiculously good. Magneto ticked all the boxes of what I look for in a LEGO character. Is he useful in the game? Yes, because he is the only character out of 3 who can control metal. And does he have that LEGO game charm to him that makes him fun to play? Yes, because he has some really funky idle animations, one where he juggles a bunch of metallic studs, and I love his special move where he full-on whacks an enemy on the head with a frying pan. It's time to put your poker face on, lads, because at number 2, it's none other than Gambit. In LEGO Marvel Superheroes, I'm going to be honest, there was no need for TT Games to go all out on Gambit like what they did. He can literally mop the floor of a room of enemies in literally 2 seconds. You know Gambit is one of the coolest X-Men characters when he literally makes one of the worst X-Men films somewhat decent, and that is X-Men Wolverine Origins. I cannot believe this, but Gambit is the only X-Men character to be able to destroy metal objects. Not even Stan Lee can do that. Gambit truly is ace in LEGO Marvel Superheroes. Throwing explosive cards at people will always be cool, no matter how old you are. We have now been through 25 X-Men characters in this ranking, and coming in at number 1, the all-time best X-Men character is someone who doesn't even want to join the X-Men. It's none other than Deadpool. LEGO Marvel Superheroes has a lot to answer for, especially when it comes down to our undenying love for Deadpool. Long before Ryan Reynolds brought the Merc with a mouth to life on the big screen, this game had us hooked from the very beginning. The anticipation of unlocking Deadpool was almost as thrilling as the moment we finally got to play as him. And let me tell you, Deadpool's sassiness was on point. His constant digs at Stan Lee for stealing the spotlight had me in stitches every time.
Him again? He's in this game more than I am. I mean, really, is he gonna be in every level? What does this guy even think he is?
Deadpool didn't hold back in LEGO Marvel Superheroes. He even fires shots at the game itself, calling out those annoying fetch quests, and we all can agree he is not wrong. TT Games puts so much care into Deadpool in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, from the little things like when he says bang bang when he shoots his guns, and if you have not tried jump attacking from the top of the map with Deadpool, you have to try it. And obviously Deadpool cannot die in this game. I do not understand why his mask is his skull though, that always confused me. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I highly recommend you check out 50 things that don't make sense in LEGO Marvel Superheroes. There are a lot of things that will leave you questioning the game.